Hi, I'm Purdy, part of the NetIQ team here at OpenText. In this video, I'm going to review the cyber insurance landscape, how it's likely affecting your authentication needs, and suggestions on an approach to fulfill those needs. Let's get going. Because cyber insurance is a relatively young industry, it's gone through quite a bit of maturing and change. As you can see here on the slide, cyber insurance costs have been rising steadily, and that trend you see is forecasted to continue. Just some notes to emphasize on this graph. Note that we're talking billions, and that not only are the rates going up, but also the cost of compliance to the policies themselves are going up as well. So how did we get here? I asked Bard a couple of questions about breach trends. This is what he came back with. Note that the number of breaches in the US has more than doubled, and the cost of each one continues to rise as well. For a more international view and detailed analysis of worldwide breaches, check out Verizon's Data Breach Investigations Report, or commonly referred to as DBIR. The reason why I limited my scope to the US is that I really wanted to zero in on how breach costs are also rising. This list is the average total cost of each breach in the US. It covers not only recovery costs, but also external expenses and consequences, like lost consumer trust. As you can see, in the past 8 years, breach costs have risen 25% in the US. While these are the numbers that Bard listed, if you want to learn more, I recommend Ponemon Institute's Cost of Data Breach Report, sponsored by IBM. They go into quite a bit of detail. So in these past few years, we've had a situation where organizations saw the need to get cyber insurance. The insurance companies responded happily by signing them up, only to experience a spike in costs for all the claims coming in, not only in number, but also in the dollar amount. So how do insurance agencies respond? They do what they always do. They increase rates, they put restrictions on what they cover and how much they're going to pay out, and for purposes of this discussion, they inserted security requirements into their policy. And of course, the potential audits that come with the policy changes. While I really have no idea what your cyber insurance policy looks like, the majority of them incorporate NIST security recommendations. You may know that NIST stands for National Institute of Standards and Technology. This slide here pulls out a few of NIST authentication requirements. As you can see, multi-factor authentication, which requires the adoption of passwordless technologies, by the way, is required for access to all private information that is being insured. You can see on the bottom that NIST also recommends single sign-on, or SSO. In other words, NIST is suggesting a methodology for strong identity verification and then an infrastructure where you can single sign-on or avoid bugging them again during that session. Of course, the wider your reach or span of SSO coverage you have, the more effective that strategy is. And it's in this context that we often see organizations take a knee-jerk tactical view on fulfilling their authentication requirements. I often see customers with authentication silos as a result of the limited types of authentication supported with the software solution, but also with a lot of administrative overhead as a result of those silos. Beyond the increased risk from human error, the high cost of keeping all the policies up to date for each user for every one of those silos is a frequent stated pain point. And it's in the context of this stated pain point that I want to bring in Advanced Authentication's framework, which is quite different from the piece of software that comes with many of the available methods you see on the market. Not only does this framework support over 30 different methods, it's part of an integrated component of NetIQ's Identity and Access Management platform. It offers dynamic authentication and, with Access Manager, machine learning for behavioral-based security. From the ground up, NetIQ's authentication framework was designed as part of a complete access management solution. Beyond its broad support of methods, it offers advanced control on when to invoke those methods, as well as just-in-time authorization based on the measured risk at the time, all of which matter. For example, let's take a situation when a user is trying to authenticate from an unknown device in a faraway location for a resource that he doesn't typically access. That situation requires a much stronger level of identity verification than someone in the office just accessing the typical assets that he does. At the end of the day, if your only goal is to comply with some government mandate, or in this case, some insurance policy, it's going to cost you. Breaches are going to be expensive. Lost productivity is going to be hurt by excessive or cumbersome security requirements. And a poor user experience is going to cost you in terms of consumer abandonment. So there you go, reasons to be more strategic in your authentication approach.